Should it be time for Bradley Beal to leave the Washington Wizards? And it's a tough topic because this has been a topic for many years now, especially ever since John Wall left the team. A lot of people thought Bradley Beal wouldn't be on the team at this point, and yet he has. The Wizards say they want to build around him and build a playoff championship caliber team around him. But do I personally think it's time to move on? And let me put this into perspective. The Washington Wizards haven't even went to the playoffs or had a winning record since John Wall's been gone. Ever since they got rid of him. All right? Bradley Beal's been averaging over 30 points per game since then. And I get it. You're trying to build a team around him. And I think it's bad right off the bat when you have fans of the organization wanting him gone. If you know anything right now, even Washington Wizards fans want him gone right now. They rather restart than build a team around him. And I think it's just because they're done with mediocre teams. And I don't really blame them because I'm a Charlotte Hornets fan and I understand what that's like. And we had Kemba Walker. We were trying to build around him. And it didn't work out because Kemba Walker is not a player you can build around. He's not going to lead you. He's not going to lead you that far. I can tell you that. And he didn't. And now we see what he is now. So, what... And obviously, I'm not comparing Bradley Beal to Kemba, but I'm just saying, like, do you not think that you might as well just rebuild and get a better player? There are better players you could draft in the future that are going to be better than Bradley Beal if you rebuild. And I think the Wizards fans are at that point where they just rather do that and just build a whole new team because at this point they don't have much assets to help build around Bradley Beal. And I mean, they tried to really build around him this season. It's kind of a failure. They signed Spencer Dinwiddie. They got Davis Bertans a couple years back, and they trade them away and get Kristaps Porzingis. And do you think that's really going to change anything? Probably not. It's probably not going to change anything. I mean, personally, if I'm the Washington Wizards organization, I would have blown it up a while back because you're just making it worse at this point, really. I mean, why? This is the main question I always ask, and I wish I could always ask teams this that are the example of it, but why do you guys want to be mediocre? What makes you want to stay mediocre? Why do you want to do that? You know that you're not going to get to a championship. You know you're not. If you think you are, you're crazy. You don't have top players like Giannis or Kevin Durant or Steph Curry. You don't have players even close to what they can do. And every time you verse them, you're going to lose because you don't have a team to beat that. Stars win games. Superstars win championships. Okay? There's a reason why LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Giannis all have rings. There's a reason why, for example, the Suns lost last season, even though they had the better team against the Bucks. The Bucks have a superstar. The Suns have stars. They have 3 stars. Bucks have a superstar and 2 stars. You compare that, the Bucks have the better star, as in Giannis. Giannis is better than every player that they have. So when he beat them and dropped 50 in the last game against them to win the championship, I wasn't surprised. Superstars win championships. Unless you're the Detroit Pistons, but they're the only team to pull it off at that point. and they had like 4 stars, like 4 or 5 stars on their team. But you compare that to one superstar. One superstar is like 2 stars to 3 in 1. That's how valuable a superstar is. They change your franchise. I remember the Bucks, how bad they were before Giannis. And Giannis has totally changed how the Bucks are at this point in my life. How I view them as an organization. The Wizards are pretty much what the Bucks were when I first got into basketball. Mediocre, never could get the right team, the right group of players to go win something. And that's just where they're at. Bradley Beal is an amazing scorer. He's a great player. One of the best 3-and-D players we have in this game. One of the best guards we have in the game. He's not going to win you a championship by himself. And even if you pair a star with him, he's not going to win you a championship. Those two are not. They're just not. I love Bradley Beal, but he's not a superstar. Unless you pair a superstar with him, then that's totally different. But if you pair a superstar with him, he's not the best player on the team. Bradley Beal is perfect as a second guy on a championship team, not the first. See many times where people are like, oh, we have a star player, just build around him. But you're not going to win with a star player. You're just not. You're not the Pistons. And the Pistons, again, had like 4 or 5 stars on their team. That's why they're able to do it. It's different. Again, it's bad knowing that Washington Wizards are just done with Bradley Beal. They want to start over because I think they're thinking what I'm thinking at this point. Why do you want to be mediocre? What is the point? Just move on. You just need to cut ties sooner or later. And the Wizards are just one of those teams right now where it's just hard to do so. The Hornets, it took them freaking years upon years for them to finally say, we need to rebuild. We need to get a superstar to build around. That's what LaMelo Ball is. He's a future superstar in the making. He's 20 years old, made his first All-Star team, and guess where the Wizards are still to this point? They are still having Bradley Beal, and they're an even worse team than the Hornets right now. And the Hornets did a rebuild. They got the superstar player that they needed to build around, and now they are contending for a playoff spot. While the Wizards are still mediocre and barely even contending for a playoff spot, and they're probably not even going to make the play-in this year, just like last year. At this point, what do? You have you still have Bradley Beal, where trade him while you can. Get the value you can. The Hornets did the right thing. They did a sign-in trade right when it was time to get rid of Kemba Walker. They got Terry Rozier back. Terry Rozier's been averaging 18 to 20 points per game for the Hornets ever since he's been on the team. He's been pretty much just full-on Kemba Walker's replacement. And whether or not if we had Rozier or Walker, it wouldn't make any of a difference because they're both... Honestly, Terry Rozier is a better player than Kemba right now than he's been in the past couple years. You got to get value for Bradley Beal while you can. If a bad injury comes to him or he gets worse, then you lose all trade value instantly. You can get a couple first-round picks for him. You can get probably a nice young player for him too. But you got to trade him now to get that value. And if there's any time for you to do it now. Just stop being mediocre. There's no point in keeping that going. Nothing changes, right? So, but if you guys have any opinions of your own, I would appreciate you guys to comment. And like I said, get rid of him, get the value you can for him right now. I think that's what they need to do.